Thank you once again for joining us in this masterclass. A bit about the Nehru Fellowship. So it is organized by Inclusive Minds. So Inclusive Minds is a political consulting firm which works exclusively with Indian National Congress. And it is a unique opportunity to understand and play a crucial role in politics and elections in India. So here, as part of this, you will be working in both the national level elections and let's say state level elections. So in next 1 year, we do not have any such national level elections. So you will be working under in various state level elections, but exclusively and only for Congress. And this fellowship is released once in a year. Okay, before talking about the Nehru Fellowship, it's important that what to understand what political consulting is, what are the typical verticals under it, and the career. So, key roles in political consulting landscape. Broadly, there are 5 pillars. One is political intelligence slash strategy and campaign management, data and analytics, governance and policy intelligence, communications, and digital media. Now, different organizations may name them differently. Some may have something like research pillar, but broadly, this is what these pillars are. You can name them differently, but the shape and size of them will remain same. So under the political intelligence slash strategy pillar, very, very important pillar, I worked as part of this pillar only in the past. So here, number one, you do candidate analysis. So as part of this, you recommend who should be fielded as a candidate from a specific constituency. So you do a proper analysis of who are the, let's say, contestants, who are the people who are demanding tickets, who should be given tickets, what are the advantages which they will bring to the table, and then at the same time you also do a lot of permutations and combinations to analyze say who can be in the fray from the opposition. Accordingly, by doing all the arithmetic, you figure out and shortlist the candidate. So you make these kind of recommendations, very important. And then the multi-level narrative management. So at the national level, state level, and zonal level, you do the narratives, you build the narratives can be, let's say, we saw saving the constitution as a very important narrative, which came in the last Lok Sabha election. So somewhere, you work on these kind of narratives. Similarly, let's say, in 2014, you talked about a lot of national security, nationalism, welfare scheme, etc. So all those are the narrative setting part, which are done as part. Then political actionables. So at the end of the day, the election has to be conducted or fought in a specific constituency. So what are the political actionables? What are the things which you have to do at the level of the constituency? Which leader, let's say, should be activated? Which leader can be posed from the opposition? And a lot of other things. What are the governance issues which are there on ground? What are the issues which we can raise on ground? Or let's say we can include as part of our manifesto and a lot of other things. And finally, when you, during the elections, then you build election war rooms and you do the proper election monitoring, management, and all that stuff. Management also means a lot of other things, but you can understand whatever you want. But then campaign management. So again, campaign management, under this, you do a strategy, planning, and operational management of the campaigns. So let's say, as an example, a campaign can be about the Bharat Jodo Yatra. It was a very big campaign which was launched. So such kind of campaigns, you do a proper planning and on-ground execution of this. And then you also do a campaign impact assessment. What was the overall impact of these campaigns? Or let's say you have to finally leverage whatever heat is there on ground because of this campaign. So you do all that as part of it. And you also provide some speech input, slogans, and a lot of other things. As an example, Harar Modi, Ghar Ghar Modi kind of slogans, all these are provided by the campaign management, right? A lot of slogans, a lot of songs. So these songs and these things are done by communication. Then third pillar is the data and analytics. So under this, because whenever you talk about, advising the politicians or anyone out there, you need data. You need to make informed decision. For making informed decision, you need data. You need to understand that when you talk about consulting a politician, you are, let's say, his experience is more than your overall age. And now if you a 20-25-year-old kid is going there and advising a politician, so you need to ensure that everything you are saying is backed by data. So for this, you do constituency profiling, you do, let's say, you conduct past election and result analysis, what happened, why it happened, and most importantly, you conduct a lot of surveys, opinion polls, on-ground surveys, qualitative, quantitative surveys to back whatever you are saying, or even to form your opinions before saying. Then fourth pillar is the governance and policy intelligence. So we all know that every party releases its own manifesto before the elections, right? So here these are, let's see, the policies or the schemes which you promise as part of this. So these are designed as part of the governance and policy intelligence. Here the main lever, apart from creating welfare, is gaining an electoral edge. So those things, and also comparative analysis of what was done by the opposition, not done by the opposition, a lot of things. Then we have the communications and digital media a pillar where you do a lot of research, content creation, as we were discussing with building songs. For songs, you have to first do a lot of research, figure out what should be the content of that. And similarly, brand building of political parties and political leaders. Whatever campaign we have to design here, ultimately it is this communication wing which has to ensure that it is executed properly on ground and social media. So basically, from this, you can understand that it's a very diverse domain. You don't need to necessarily know everything. If you are good in any one of those things, you can certainly get into them. Right? So it has place for every individual. And most importantly, when you talk about consulting, this is an area of generalist. So if you are a generalist, you have good problem solving ability. So you can certainly find a place in this space. But apart from this, you should have a good political acumen. That is non-negotiable. You should have good understanding of politics. You should be aware of what is happening around you. It's unfortunate that most of the people in this space do not have this acumen, but at least during this kind of fellowships, let's say Nehru Fellowship, where the selection rate is relatively less, they will ensure that the people who are selected have decent understanding. Then the pros and cons of getting into this field. So you get an opportunity to create a scalable impact, no doubt in this. As an example, when I was advising a politician, we designed a complete manifesto for a specific constituency. So this was done directly by my team, and then the politician gave free hand to us. So we finally ensure that it was part of the main campaign. So you get an opportunity to build this kind of campaign. At the same time, you also provide inputs for state level or zonal level kind of manifestos or promises to me. So you certainly get a possibility or an opportunity to create impact. At the same time, when you raise the right issues through the right channel, the right time, you also create an impact via that. So it's about how you understand that. Then second part is the diversity of work, as you can understand from the last pillars which we were discussed. Apart from this, even there is a huge diversity in terms of geographies. Sometimes you are working in rural areas, but at the same time, sometimes you are working with the top politicians, maybe sitting in their bungalows. At the other time, maybe you are delivering presentations to your top leadership, organizational top leadership. So huge diversity of work, and your UPSC experience can certainly be leveraged as part of this. You get a chance to work with some of the tallest politicians of the country. So the opportunity to build network is huge, undoubtedly, and decently paying industry, evolving field. So opportunities may increase over time, because in the past you may also have observed that the number of boutique consulting firms, political consulting firms, have increased, because earlier there was a time when only a national party could afford a political consulting firm, but now even individual politicians have political consulting firms guiding them. The regional parties, small regional parties, also have the political consulting firms guiding them. And there is a simple reason for this. Simple reason is penetration of tech. Now everyone want to ensure that the strategies they are building is backed by data, and everything they are doing is monitored using data. So consultant ensure that they provide a structure to all these things. And apart from this, obviously the game of social media is crossing the ceiling. So everyone want to make a good brand image via social media, irrespective of how good or bad they are. It's the image which sells in the market. And then when you talk about the cons of this getting into this field, it's difficult to see tangible improvement, because let's say we design this manifesto, then what happened? No. Instability in job location. Obviously, you keep on, say normally when elections are concluded in a specific state, then you move on to the next state, and then elections happen here, then you move on to the third state. So there is no fixed location where you are working. So maybe for a span of 6 months to 1 year, you are at a specific location, then you shift. But at the same time, there are roles in the national team. So if you work as part of it, then maybe you can remain in one location for a relatively longer span of time. So all that depends. Then poor work-life balance. Yes, there is a huge variation in the kind of work you do as part of it. So sometimes there are, let's say you work for maybe 2 hours a day, just go to office, have coffee, sit there for some time, have another coffee, lunch, and you come back. Because let's say there is a lot of time for the elections to start. But at the same time, when you talk about, let's say, the time closer to the elections, maybe you'll be working for 20 hours a day as well. So, anything and everything is possible here, because at the end of the day, you need to understand that the accountability of political consulting firms is set after every 6 months. Is there are elections are going to be conducted, and one party will win, one party will lose the elections. So if, let's say, a political consulting firm has a consistent track record of maybe their clients not winning the elections for a significant period of time, then they may get fleshed out. So something you can see as, let's say, the some some images of this can also be seen in the current Delhi elections, where it is said that maybe IPAC is the reason for Kejriwal not winning the election. I'm not saying it, but a lot of people are saying this. And IPAC consistent track record has not been very good from the last few elections, so it can have a very maybe devastating impact on the future of IPAC. So that is how it is. It is not like any other firm where you will certainly gain something. Maybe the impact can be delta can be 5%, 10%, 15%. That is not the case here. Either you win or you lose. Then work may be monotonous with time, because whatever we discuss, maybe you will keep on doing the same thing time and again. Industry is still in the nascent stage, so a lot of unorganized work is there. It is just like a startup. Overall, irrespective of which industry, which company you talk about, most of them are just like a startup. All of them are just like startup. And it also involves traveling to rural areas, or sometimes even inaccessible areas. Now, if the pros is more than, let's say, the cons for you, then in that case, you can go ahead and discuss about how to get into Nehru Fellowship. Now, best part but about this overall story is, even if you do not want to remain in political consulting space, you can use this opportunity of Nehru Fellowship as a plank to get into other areas. Can be public policy, can be impact consulting, can be higher education, or a lot of other areas. So even if you do not want to remain in political consulting, it's fine. Details about the Nehru Fellowship. These are just the basic details. Eligibility is bachelor's in any discipline. No diversity preferred. Indian citizens. Adaptable. Adaptability is very important here, as there is a huge diversity, sense of ownership, and hunger to excel beyond expectations. Diversity preferred. Now here, geographical diversity. So you can be from any part of the country. Normally, when these consulting firms recruit for a specific state for a specific project, they prefer to have candidates from that specific state only. But here, right now, they are recruiting for pan-India projects. So you can be from any part of the country. Geographical diversity, gender, educational diversity, professional diversity, whether you are a lawyer, doctor, journalist, engineer, or whatsoever, everyone will be given. So everyone will be treated equally. Work experience is not essential, and compensation here is 75,000 rupees per month. Duration is 12 months, starting July 2025. Number of fellows, in the past they recruited 20 fellows. I'm not very sure about the exact number now, but hopefully it is 20 only. Application deadline, so it's 20th February, which is the early bird deadline, and 10th March, which is the regular deadline. Now a lot of questions were coming. Should you go ahead with the early bird deadline? Yes, certainly. So initially, the number of applications received are relatively less, so the team has more time to go through individual applications. So it can ensure that since they are spending more time, chances of you getting selected will be relatively higher. At the same time, when you talk about 20 opportunities, so it can be, let's say, maybe they will shortlist into 20 candidates. Then they will do divide three in each round, and then they will finally reach to this. So this can be the case. Now here, if let's say they have already shortlisted enough good candidates, 200 candidates, now then your application comes, at that time they can be a little more choosy. So sooner you apply, better it is. Sooner means by 20th Feb you can apply. Then they will start shortlisting. So this is how it should. But at the same time, ensure that your application is impeccable. You do not apply in a hurry. Now, usual journey of a fellow. So initially, there'll be training for 2 months. So training, you will be trained in various facets of political consulting, in the understanding of elections, strategies, campaigns, data analytics, election war room management, etc. So that is just the basic training and exposure. Then you will be placed in rotational stint with various pillars, as we were discussing. So political intelligence, research, communication, campaign, data, or maybe GPS, governance and policy. So it can be anything. So you'll be provided exposure to all these fields, and then you will develop specialization in any one vertical of your choice and work there for the rest of the time. So it's a very good opportunity in terms of here they are democratically providing you the exposure to know what is your area of expertise and interest, and then choose. Usually, when you join a political consulting firm from outside, let's say for a contractual specific project, then you do not get such kind of exposure. Obviously, under ILP UPSC, where our candidates got into Nation with Namo, this is again very similar to this kind of opportunity. That is a full-time, relatively higher salary, and all those things. But that is also very similar to this. There also you get such kind of exposure. Now, and one more thing, in case any one of you is planning to apply for ILP UPSC, you can apply. Its deadline is tomorrow, 10th of February. I had a word with their HR. So they are recruiting for the last batch of ILP UPSC. Here you need to clear the prelims at least once, should be in the age bracket of 24 to 27, and should be from tier 1 college. If you meet all these criteria, you can submit your application. If you need any support from us, feel free to reach out. Okay. Now, what makes the Nehru Fellowship unique? Number one, diversity of work, as we were discussing, democratic chance to work in various fields. Second is low barrier to entry. Very important. Here, you do not demand, they are not demanding a specific post graduation, work experience, or tier 1 college. At the same time, they are incentivizing people from diverse backgrounds, and candidates from all walks of life are welcome to apply. So, irrespective of who you are, you can certainly apply for this. Third is UPSC preparation experience is directly valued. Decent stipend for an entry-level professional, 75K is not bad. So you can certainly restart or start your career like this. And the pan-India opportunities, so exposure is not limited to any specific state. Second is the exit opportunities which you have out of these kind of fellowships. Now, one is you can remain in political consulting. Here, let's say if your overall work and is good, then there is a possibility of retention within the same organization. So you can get into the leadership roles of inclusive minds only. That is one possibility. Second is if this does not happen, then you can certainly join other political consulting firms, be it the consulting firms or let's say individual legislators. So you can work as consultant with individual legislators or political parties. So there are a lot of firms. Then you can, if political consulting is not something which you like, or let's say during this time you realize that you like the policy part of it more, then you can get into public policy roles and impact it. Put yourself on mute. Okay, then there can be careers in public policy and impact sector. So you can grab impact consulting or public consulting roles with organizations like Samagra or PwC, because your experience of, let's say, field intelligence, gathering of governance surveys, etc., is highly relevant to these organizations. Then you can also lead offices of MPs, ministers, and political parties. As I was saying earlier, I got an offer from one MP and another who later became a minister to lead their office. So you can certainly, it depends on what kind of relationship are you able to build with them. Then journalism and media, obviously, you can also go for advanced degrees, be it MBA, MPP, MPA, MA, any kind of program, or other careers. You can work in startup, social and technology. So exit opportunities as such are immense. You don't need to worry a lot about that. You just need to worry about the first start. Then 4 stages of the selection process. They have said that they will first have a preliminary round where you have to submit your resume and essay, then a video assessment, which will be a case study video, then a group discussion, everything online, and a personal interview, which will also be online. So everything is online. You have 4 rounds. Now, when you talk about preliminary round, here there are 2 parts. One is the resume, and second is the essay. We will discuss both of them in detail. Now, when you talk about the basics of resume, for any opportunity, it should be a single page resume, should be clean, organized, and easy to read. Use a professional format with clear headings and bullet points. You ensure that you use bullet points, you do not write it in paragraph, because it's very difficult to read it in paragraph. Recruiter do not have that much of time. Stick to the standard font and do not change the fonts or the colors at all. And here they may not use the ATS, but ensure whether it is through the ATS or individual, having the right keywords from the job descriptions and other industry relevant keywords is important to ensure that your resume is overall aligned with the role. Now here, please understand, till now I have guided over 500 candidates personally on resume. 90% of the resume I receive are not in the right shape. So ensure that your resume is in the right shape. We will discuss the details of it as we go ahead, but bring it in the right shape before applying. Here, the first section can be a career objective. So you can write, say, your overall objective, career objective, or summary that highlight your passion for public policy, political. Or you can either have a career objective or you can have a summary. Summary is about one line about your experience, about expertise, your interest areas, your skills which you bring, and the academic background. But none of them, you can have at max one thing, but none of them is mandatory. If you have, let's say, enough content for your resume, then you can avoid mentioning any of this. Then you can directly start with the educational background. At the end, I will also show you a demo or a sample resume. So specially tailored for this role. So do not worry, just read. Now in the educational background, write qualification, board, year, and marks obtained. Then very, very important part, which is the skills and competencies. Here there are two things. One is the skills, another is the work experience. So we will discuss about the professional experience after this. Here, when you talk about the skills, highlight both the hard skills and the soft skills. So in case you feel that you do not have a lot of hard skills, maybe you can focus on the areas of interest section and you can mention about your areas of interest. Relevant hard skills, especially for this role. One thing, as we were discussing, there is one pillar which is data analytics pillar. So you can showcase your data related skills. So your quantitative research and analysis methodologies, say sampling, survey design, statistical analysis, and various tools for this, or proficiency in data interpretation using tools like advanced Excel, R, Python, data visualization tools like Power BI. So you can showcase that you are somebody who understands data. So quantitative analysis is one thing. Second is the qualitative analysis. As we were discussing, you will be part of. Now ensure that you write down all these keywords because they can be directly used both in your resume as well as in your statement of purpose. Second is the qualitative analysis. So as we were discussing, that you conduct what we say as political strategy slash political intelligence. So intelligence is about understanding the opinion of people on the ground, understanding who, let's say, doing a proper candidate assessment. So which candidate is getting what kind of support? What are the issues due to which people are, let's say, unhappy from the opposition? So to do all these things, you conduct a lot of surveys. Surveys are both quantitative as well as qualitative. So for this, you conduct focus group discussions, in-depth interviews, research, and information synthesis. So if you are somebody who know all these things or a few of these things, do mention about them. Third is report writing and presentation. At the end of the day, you have to compile all your findings and share it maybe with the party headquarters, etc., so that the decisions are taken on that. So report writing is very important thing. Report writing, policy brief, whatever you see. So your presentation skills, MS PowerPoint, MS Word, good writing skills, they are also. So you can mention about that. Fourth is the data visualization. As we were discussing visualization. So here from the quantitative analysis also, so Tableau, Power BI, you can mention about them. Similarly, you can mention about the graphic designing tools if you are aware of them, or video editing tools, Canva, Figma, Flowchart, etc. Because in the communication pillars, this is very handy. So whatever skills you have, just introspect, think, and you can mention those relevant skills. Even if you do not have, we will discuss about that. Then fifth is the academic knowledge. So you should have good governance, good knowledge of governance, public policy issues, current affairs, political acumen, interest in politics. So these are other things which are important or skills important. Then these soft skills. Now, when you talk about consulting, as I was discussing, this is the game of soft skills. Here you need typically three things. One is good problem solving ability. Second is analytical and strategic thinking, so analytical thinking. Third is the communication skills. They are mandatory to excel in this. Okay, especially in the political strategy part. Maybe in communication, the role is relatively lesser. Apart from this, adaptability is very important because you will be working with very different type of clients, geographies, and tasks, and ability to work well in the teams, collaboration sector, networking, because you have to build a strong relationship with the client. You have to work with very diverse stakeholders, maintain and build those relationships. As an example, during our time, I also executed a campaign where I collaborated with thousands of SG people associated with the SHGs. So we did a lot of negotiations with a lot of people associated here, and finally, got their support, and that helped us increase the let's say women participation in the overall election. But you do all those things. So networking is important. Attention to it. Even if you do not have these skills, we will discuss. Do not worry. Then the professional experience. So if you have any professional experience, if you do not have full-time experience, internship, mention about that, volunteership positions or something else, whatever experience you have, do mention about it. Now here, ensure that number one, you are able to showcase the impact part of it. So here you follow something like STAR format, which is situation, task, action, and result. Main is, I'll show you the demo also later. Main is the action and the result, where you talk about action, what exactly you did as part of this organization and what was the result of it. Then you talk about the impact. Then what was the impact of it. So you use this kind of format. So demonstrate your ability to make an impact. When you write about the impact, ensure that it is also quantified, because whether the efficiency improved by 1% or 10% matters. Whether you collaborated with 10 SHGs or 1000 SHGs matters. So make it more specific. Do not ensure that it is not vague. Then highlight any other leadership or organization tools which you had, and ensure that you emphasize on the important relevant keywords. Relevant keywords, as we were discussing, can be part of directly skills. So you can maybe directly take few keywords from these skills and sprinkle them in your work experience and other sections and make them. Also selective bolding. Then you will have a projects, articles, or papers section. So even if you do not have a lot of it, but you have some academic projects which you did, you can mention about them. Here again, do not just write the name of the project. That doesn't help. The other person is not able to understand what exactly you did as part of it. At the end of the day, you have to showcase that there are a lot of transferable skills which you bring from this project to this specific role. So as part of our applied public policy lab program, that's why you do a detailed project, and a lot of skills which you implement there are directly transferable to these fields. We will discuss that tomorrow. Now here, important part is when you discuss about the project, focus on the methodologies used, your overall contributions, and the outcomes. So what tools you used, maybe let's say again, this you can go back to the skill section. So if you did, let's say you did some kind of analysis. So what tools you use for that? R, Excel, Python, Power BI, whatever you use for that, your contributions and what was the overall outcome. So make it specific. Similarly, if you have done any certification, you can mention about those certifications also. Any training, workshop, certifications which you have completed, mention about them. Now, basically the point is, you have to make a single page resume. So you have to give preference to important achievements. So if you do not have any work experience, then you do not have a lot of projects, then you will write about the certification. So that depends on the overall priority and the study. Then the awards and achievements. So whenever you talk about political consulting and similar kind of roles, they demand a well-rounded personality. So understanding, being in the leadership roles as part of maybe college clubs or other similar events certainly helps you, because you are going to do a lot of similar kind of activities as part of these organizations also. So include any leadership role, positions of responsibility, involvement in clubs, extracurricular activities you had in the past. Then you can also have a section on UPSC journey. A lot of candidates ask us where to write UPSC preparation. So you can have a separate section on it, because it is neither education nor work experience. Or you can write it alongside awards and achievements. Here, clearly articulate your transferable skills. This is important because See, most of the candidates, let's say, irrespective of whether you have appeared in mains or interview, at the end of the day, what is important is what skill are you bringing to the table? How is this experience relevant to the recruiter who is hiring you? So you have to talk about the relevant transferable skills, can be, let's say, communication skills, report writing skills, critical thinking, attention to detail, time management, or a lot of hard skills which you develop, say, understanding of policy, politics, governance, and similar. So you get international relations, economics, schemes offered by government. So you get exposure to all these things. You can mention about them. So focus on your personal and professional growth, which you achieve. Okay. A lot of mistakes. People make a lot of mistakes while making their resume. First major mistake is lack of tailoring. They make a single generic resume. They use a lot of chat GPT for that, and then they use it for every opportunity. That doesn't help. You have to tailor it for the specific opportunity, as we were discussing. Let's say those kind of keywords which we discussed, you have to ensure that they are incorporated in your resume. Irrelevant personal information. Do not write your age, your marital status, your unrelated hobbies. That is use. Overemphasis on UPSC preparation. We understand you prepared for this examination. We understand a lot of emotional, physical, and financial investment which goes into this preparation, but that does not, overemphasis on this doesn't help. So just highlight the transferable skills from it. Do not get emotional by mentioning listing unrelated skills. So even if you are the best person, maybe in coding, but that does not help. So mention about the relevant skills so that it seems that you are a candidate who is made for this specific opportunity. Then negative language about career gap. A lot of candidates make this mistake that they sometimes consider it as a mistake or something else and then write it in a similar manner in your resume. You have to showcase a very positive outlook about everything you did in the past in your resume. Inconsistent formatting, the biggest mistake which a lot of candidates make, and this one mistake can directly result in your rejection. Mistake can be, let's say your timeline is dancing, you are writing the timeline right aligned manner, it is like this. Or let's say font is not proper, or maybe there are grammatical mistakes, or let's say you are writing in paragraphs and somewhere there are the font size, font type, and those things are not proper. So inconsistent formatting is a major issue. Ensure that a lot of people make mistakes with the bullets. There is this type of bullet, then there is a star, and there is hyphen, there can be anything. Then this or bullet is here, then bullet is here, then bullet is here. So do not make this kind of mistake. Okay, so I hope till now you must be crystal clear on how to make a resume for this. I will show you a sample resume later, so not very where there we will discuss exactly how to write everything which we have discussed till now. Okay, any question till now? Any specific thing? No, this PPT will not be available to you. You can make your own notes. Yes, Manasvi, you want to ask?
Hello, good evening, sir. I had a question regarding the resume. So, in my case, I have not had any leadership roles during my college years, but I was very active during school years. So, actually, I did do something during my college years as well, but I do not have any certifications regarding that. So, what do you think would be a right way to go about it?
So you can mention about your school achievements also, but do not overemphasize on that. I see a lot of candidates whenever, even when I interview candidates, when I guide candidates at rebounds for any specific thing, strength, weakness, they go back to school related achievement. No, that is a very, that's a past. And you also have a very nascent kind of personality at this time, at that time, and then over time you build a very strong personality. So do not mention a lot about your school time, even if you do not have certifications about your college related achievements. I don't think a lot of organizations bother a lot about the certification. They can just ask a couple of questions and understand the reality about whatever you are saying. Okay. We will have a detailed question and answer round at the end of the session. So all the other people who have raised your hand, so you can discuss it once we have. Now, the second part, which is the SOP, statement of purpose. Here, you have to write in 50 to 500 words, write an essay, how will the Nehru Fellowship help you achieve your career goals? And how do you aim to contribute to political change through this fellowship? So there are two parts of it. How will this fellowship help you achieve your career goals? And second is, how do you aim to contribute to political change through this opportunity? Okay, ensure that both the parts are properly addressed. We will discuss the detail. Now, format for SOP here, it's say 50 to 500 word. So you make it, let's say 400, 450, under 500, ensure that that limit is crossed. Now, this can be a broad format for it. You can have an introduction. You can start with a strong hook of 50, 60 words. Then compelling opening statement that captures a little bit about your background and your motivation slash enthusiasm for applying for the Nehru Fellowship and maybe passion towards politics and creating impact. So you can have something about election is about this kind of thing, and Nehru Fellowship can provide me this opportunity. Or being a person with this kind of background, Nehru Fellowship is the right fit for me. So it is just like the start of the movie. Ensure that it is just like the start of the movie. It is not boring, it is exciting, but at the same time, highly relevant to the role. Now, the broader idea when you write the SOP or this question is, no, understand the recruiter has no obligation to read your SOP. They can reject it outrightly also. So you have to write a SOP so that they are compelled to read it. It is so interesting, so engaging that they prefer to. Okay. Now, so this will be the first start of it. Then this is the meat of the SOP, which is in 150 to 200 words, you will write about its alignment with your career goals. They have asked how it will help you achieve your career goals. So you have to write three things here. One is, what are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? And how this fellowship will help you bridge the gap towards your short-term and long-term goals. Now in the short term, you can focus a bit on understanding, learning, especially when you are starting your career. So this opportunity will help me understand maybe number one, political landscape, election strategies, data-driven campaigning, right? Field understanding, on-ground understanding, or let's say intersection of policy and politics. Because that is very important part, understanding, especially when you are starting your career. Second is, it can also be about, say, the impact which you want to create. And now ensure that it is specific and practical. Do not write that, no, I want to change the government, that's why I want to become part of it. So ensure that it is very specific, you have some specific objective out of it. And in the long term, you can maybe mention something like you want to get into leadership roles in the space of political consulting, or let's say you want to become advocate or you want to advocate for the voice of the marginalized and this kind of community. These are just few ideas. Just think about what are your reasons to get into this fellowship, what are your broad career goals, and accordingly you mention them. Okay. Then how will this specific fellowship help you achieve that? Maybe here you will do, when you will write those, you will build those data-driven campaigning, or say you will do some evidence-based decision making, or you will conduct on-ground surveys, or let's say you will collaborate with various politicians and understand or do brand positioning of all these politicians that can help you achieve this short-term objective. Along with this, you will get a huge, the diversity of exposure which you are getting out of this fellowship. Along with this, maybe mentorship from the top leaders, part of this can help you achieve all those objectives. So ensure that you are not beating around the bush. You are not repeating the same point time and again. It should be like MISI, mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. So collectively, it should be like universal set. Everything is a part of it. In the long-term goals, it can be, maybe via the networking with the people who are working in this space. You can help, you can achieve your career goals. So you can mention about those broader goals. See, maybe networking, diverse exposure, starting from field to the politicians and the organizational leadership. Here, mention the skills, the knowledge, and the exposure you hope to gain from this fellowship. Then, so you can have a couple of paragraphs about it. Then you will have the next part, which is the political change. The question is how this fellowship can help you achieve political change. So broadly, this is about they are asking, what is your understanding of political consulting? There are two parts. One is, say, what do you mean by political change? And then what is your understanding of political consulting? And this how this political consulting can help you achieve the political change. So as an example, your understanding of political consulting, as we have discussed till now, can be about the building strategies, grassroots mobilization, public sentiment analysis, preparing manifestos, campaign designing, awareness creation, and a lot of other things which we have discussed. You can use all these keywords as part of your SOP. Now, the meaning of political change for you can be, say, high voter turnout. More and more people are participating in democracy, youth participation, women participation, or let's say impactful issues based campaign. So you in the campaigns you are raising the right issues around maybe corruption, around women empowerment, empowerment of marginalized communities, citizen-centric policies. So under as part of manifestos, you have the policies which have a direct impact on society. And then space for rights of marginalized. So you have your own understanding of political change. You have to mention about that. You have your own understanding of political consulting and how this space will allow you to achieve this change. That should be the idea. At the same time, here it's important that you talk about your strengths as part of this. How can you talk about it? So when you say, let's say, evidence-based decision making, so you can say that when I worked as part of you know, this specific organization, along with this, when I wrote a white paper as part of, or a consulting paper as part of, you know, a consulting paper on India's employment status, where I did a qualitative and quantitative analysis on these aspects. I understood the importance of data and evidence in building informed policies. Similarly, now I want to leverage the similar skill set to get into similar skill set to create a scalable impact by becoming a part of political consulting. So you have to talk about what are your strengths. You can somehow sprinkle them. Similarly, if you have also worked as maybe mentor in a coaching institute, there also, and your UPSC, then both these things can also be accommodated as part of it. There again, as part of civil services preparation in a non-conventional setup, I understood holistic understanding. I gained holistic understanding, time management, working under pressure, huge exposure to policy, politics, governance issues, schemes. Now, through this organization will provide me an opportunity to leverage all these things to create a scalable impact of this type. So basically, you are putting across what skills you can do, and not just, let's say, just a flowery idea about what do you think. That's not how it should be. Make it specific. Then finally, you will conclude, you reiterate your enthusiasm for the fellowship and your commitment to make it meaningful. That should be the product. Here, things to keep in mind. Number one, it's the story which sells in the market. So give an authentic personal touch instead of writing generic responses. Before 2 days, one candidate, what he did was he directly asked this question from ChatGPT. ChatGPT provided a very good fancy answer. He submitted it. Point is, when I as a recruiter evaluate it, I understand that there is no personal touch in this. I understand that any person out there in the market, sitting in any part of the world with any experience, can ask this question from ChatGPT. ChatGPT can provide you a generic response. That is not what they are looking for, right? So understand that you are talking about you. You are talking about your profile, your ambitions, and accordingly tailoring it. Do not, use ChatGPT as your slave. You can certainly use ChatGPT. Use it as your slave. Do not use it as your master. Give the right prompts. Show, don't just tell. So provide specific examples to back it. Showcase your research. So here again, when we talk about political consulting, because they are asking how this political consulting work will allow you. So you have to demonstrate your understanding of Inclusive Minds vision, its past work, and how it aligns with your passion. So genuine enthusiasm, proofread, ensure that there are no grammatical mistakes. You can use ChatGPT for that. Focus on clarity and simplicity. Smooth liquid flow. Use transitions to maintain flow, but there should be a smooth liquid flow. That is very important. Understand from this, apart from your motivations and all these things, they are also checking your report writing skills. They are checking your basic communication skills. So this is important, and no over chat. Stay relevant. That is it. Now, few keywords which you can incorporate as part of it. So maybe when you are writing about governance and policy, public policy, electoral strategy, governance framework, legislative affairs, policy analysis, grassroots mobilization, policy advocacy. So you can sprinkle such kind of. Now, in political consulting and campaigning, voter engagement, data-driven decision making, campaign strategy, digital outreach, political communication, issue-based advocacy, civic engagement. So such kind of keywords can be sprinkled. Under the leadership and strategy, let's say you can mention about coalition building, stakeholder management, policy implementation, governance consulting, participatory democracy, impact assessment, research analysis, constituency analysis, sentiment analysis, opinion polling, behavioral insights, evidence-based policy making, socio-political trends, electoral data analysis. Similarly, if you are somebody who's good with data and tech, digital campaigning, social media analytics, political tech solutions, AI in politics, misinformation mitigation, targeted voter outreach, data-driven governance. So you can use such kind of keywords to ensure to make it more catchy. But at the same time, do not use a lot of, or do not make it overflow with the keywords. Provide that personal touch. That story is important. All these are just a way to make it more glossier. Okay, now here a lot of candidates reach out to me. I receive hundreds of messages daily. Typically, candidates have given maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 attempts. Now, they do not have any work experience. Most of you might fall in this bracket. You do not have any work experience, or at least relevant work experience. And now you want to get a job in this kind of field as soon as possible. Then the mistake you do is you start targeting a specific fellowship. You say, this is Nehru Fellowship is there. Now I just want to get into this fellowship. That is not how it works. If you have not done anything in last 30 years of your life or 25 years of your life, no magic can happen in 10 days, 15 days. For writing in your resume, you need right fodder, right? What to market in the resume. For marketing, you need to have the right fodder. So here the strategy should be understanding that I want to get into this is specific field. Can be political consulting, public policy, impact consulting, development sector. All of them are very related. The skills are also very related. Once we have figured out that, okay, this is the sector I want to get into. If you want clarity for that, you can go to our YouTube channel and understand the careers in public policy and skills for that. Once you have zeroed down to this, then there are a lot of opportunities. The opportunities keep coming, round the year. Then you start building your profile. You spend around 2-3 months to build a strong profile, and then you start applying to various opportunities. This does not mean that you should not apply to the current opening at Nehru Fellowship, but you do not just apply here and sleep. This you should not have this kind of mindset. You should have an incremental gain kind of mindset. I will apply here, but currently my profile is not ready. So now I will work on upskilling and build the right profile. Then over time, if another good opportunity arises, I will apply. So just to give you an evidence about, let's say a lot of such opportunities keep coming, I just compiled this list. So if you talk about LAMP Fellowship, very prestigious fellowship, it is released every year. Then ACT Fellowship, it is released in September. Mukherjee Fellowship in July. Gandhi Fellowship in March. International Innovation Corps Fellowship, maybe I think its deadline is today. Then it is released in January. SBI Youth for India Fellowship, it's released in May. This ILP UPSC we were talking about, right? Which is offered by National Namo. It was there in January. Then the Samagra. So this also came up with few openings. Now for entry-level professionals, the openings will be released in February. So this is a very good impact consulting firm. Similarly, Bridgespan, again, a very good impact consulting firm. In January, they come up with these applications. We shared them before some time. Then FSG, another very good firm. So somewhere around July, they release these fellowships. So these are, they release some openings of consultants. So these are impact consulting firms, and very good. They're political. TDI Partners, again, a good impact consulting firm, comes in November or somewhere around it. Punjab CM Fellowship, very soon, its application will come, and it also provide a very good stipend of around 70,000-80,000. Gujarat CM Fellowship, where in November it comes up. Case India, Dasra, young professionals. So these opportunities around the year, we share a lot of such opportunities, which are, here you get the opportunity to work with the different ministries. So different ministries hire young professional for a span of 1 year. So it can provide a good restart to your career. Niti Ayog consultant round the year, this they keep on, you can submit your application and it is on a rolling basis. Invest India, Quality Council of India, some candidates from Bronx got into QCI in the past. Round the year, Satwa Consulting, round the year, we share a lot of such opportunities. Teach for India Fellowship, this is also around the year. Pratham also comes up with a lot of openings. They are also around the year. So these are just a few opportunities which I am discussing. There are many such opportunities. So do not think about, let's say this opportunity is out there, I have to get into it and chapter close. Chapter is not closed there. Because here, say, only 20 fellows will be selected. I want, I want that, all the 20 fellows should be from this master class. But even if there are, then also we have around 120 candidates as part of this session right now. So you have to be persistent and keep working towards this. Now, how to do that? Typically, a lot of candidates comes up with this challenge कि अब तो resume खाली है. Now you have a gap year also. So what to do? First thing is, once you have narrowed down, you have zeroed down that this is the field I want to be in, then start upskilling yourself in that. Build project to make a very good profile. Now, mistake candidates do there here is they go behind a lot of certifications. Certification do not help you a lot because anyone who has money in their pocket can buy a certificate. So recruiter also understand this. So having one project is better than having 10 certifications on your resume. So focus on upskilling and building projects. Then once you have it, build a bulletproof resume and a cover letter. Then build a good LinkedIn profile and proactively start reaching out to people. Via this, you will get into some non-profit, some startups, you will take a few internships and volunteering positions. Then from this, you will start strengthening your profile. Now you showcase your enthusiasm for the role, you write some articles, consulting papers, participate in online competitions to further build your portfolio. Then you prepare for the case interviews. When you talk about impact consulting or political consulting firm, they conduct case interviews and guesstimates. So preparing for this is like building a muscle. It takes a lot of time. So you prepare for it parallelly. In the meantime, these internships and these things are going on. Then you have a very strong profile. Now, once a good opportunity is out there in the market, you apply. Chances of selection will be very, very high because 90% of the candidates do not have a decent resume. Even if they have profile, they have projects, they have all the things. If their resume is not in the right shape, then their chances of selection will be very, very little. Now, when I interact with the candidates, a lot of you might be having this dilemma that I'm not getting the shortlist. Then your hypothesis is that, I do not, maybe because I have, career gap in my profile. That is not the case. Usually, the problem is you either do not have the right skills with you, or even if you have, you are not able to put it in the right manner in your resume. If both these things are there, your chances of shortlisting will be 10x time. You can take my word for this. I have guided a lot of candidates. Now, but in this overall journey, a lot of candidates face a challenge. The challenge is, what project to build, how to build those projects. Currently in the market, there are a lot of courses available, but in the name of consulting project or consulting paper, you take up 4 papers, use ChatGPT and write a fifth one. That does not help because one is you do not have the right fodder content for your resume. Second is just by asking a couple of questions in the interviews, no interviewer can very well understand what exactly you did. It's important that the projects which you build are from the, let's say, from 0 to 100. You do the basic data analysis, you then compile your findings in the right manner, you do qualitative analysis, quantitative analysis, evidence triangulation, and do all these. Now, to bridge this specific gap, we at Rebounce launched our Applied Public Policy Lab program. So it was launched after interacting with over 1,000 candidates. Every day we conduct, Akshat and me interact with, cumulatively 7-8 candidates. Akshat conduct sessions for 2 hours, I conduct sessions for 3 hours. We have interacted with a lot of ex-UPSC aspirants. Everyone was struggling in this. So we decided to launch our Applied Public Policy Lab program. It is a project-based hands-on upskilling program. So here, again, my co-founder Akshat, who brings a decade of experience in public policy, he very comprehensively delivers the public policy skills to you. Then he also showcases you in the same live master classes how to implement all these skills in the project, how to make a consulting type project. So here you build a mini consulting project, which is say very similar to the kind of project which you will build as part of maybe World Bank or PwC if you work with them. So you implement, because we understand you already have a lot of yarn. Right now, what you are looking for is the practical exposure. So you build this project, then you once you have these things, then you prepare for the case interviews and guesstimates, which are typically asked as part of impact consulting firm. Now, since you have the right fodder, then you get complete support, end-to-end support and handholding from us on resume, cover letter, and LinkedIn profile optimization. Because now you have the right fodder in your resume, so your chances of building awesome these things will be very very. Then you get complete support from us on interview preparation. We conduct mock interviews and provide all the support. Then we provide you support for unlimited number of take-home assignment. When you apply to all these opportunities, let's say currently for Nehru Fellowship, they are asking this question outright. For AIF, American India Foundation, they have again a question where you have to write in 200 to 400 words about your profile. After this, sometimes these organizations give you some kind of policy. You have to draft a policy or similar kind of thing. As an example, the IIC fellowship currently open. So they have this kind of procedure. So we again support you on that. We review all that, help you for this. And apart from this, we then you are shortlisted. We provide specific interview specific support. Then after this, complete, let's say, support on salary negotiations and all this part. Apart from this, we in the past have collaborated with the organizations. We also provide a lot of referrals. We have provided a lot of referrals in the past. In the future also, we will do that. So basically, this program is designed to provide you complete end-to-end support and handholding. If, let's say, you are looking for this kind of support, you can apply for our Applied Public Policy Lab support. It is starting from 1st of March, and currently we are offering 15% discount for the candidates who are part of this this webinar. We will provide an additional 5% discount. I can see some of you are dropping out. Please be with us in this session. We will discuss the live resume and other parts also. I'm sure you will benefit. So we are providing an additional 5% discount to the candidates who are part of this masterclass. So in case you are interested, go ahead and enroll to this. We have 3 programs. One is APPL, which is about everything, the complete support. In case you feel that you have the right skills, the right fodder in your resume, you want case interview preparation, especially focused towards impact consulting, and complete support on resume, cover letter, LinkedIn profile, interview preparation, take home assignment, and other things. Then you can go for our case for change program. In case you feel that you are also prepared for case interviews, you need complete support starting from resume till salary negotiation. Then you can go for our market readiness program. Accordingly, you can take your own call. So we have this 5% additional discount is for on both Applied Public Policy Lab and Case for Change program. We will float the forms, the special forms with you on our WhatsApp group and also email it. Okay. All right. And why we are the best person to support you? We have an overall experience of 15 plus years. We have been in managerial positions for 5 plus years. We have been hiring very regularly. We have worked in public policy, political consulting, and all these spaces. And apart from this, we have personally guided over over 200 candidates, and a lot of candidates have already transitioned. All right. So if you are interested, if you have any other question, feel free to ask after the end of the session, or even you can, text me on WhatsApp, and we can also connect on a short phone call to help you with this. Now, the special 5% discount we were talking about, this is valid till tomorrow midnight. So in case you are interested, you can enroll for it till tomorrow midnight. Okay. On that note, let's first discuss the live resume and then we will go to the interview. Let's first discuss the interview part and then we will discuss the resume. Okay. Now, when you talk about the interviews as part of political consulting, now after this, there will be a video assessment round and then there will be a job description, your group discussion, and finally, you will have the interviews. Under this, they will provide, you will have to make a video on a specific topic. They will provide all the details. So, and for job description, for group discussion also, they will provide all the details. It will be an online group discussion. And just ensure that, you do not contribute in making the group a fish market. You just put your points in the right manner. For this, you can start maybe reading newspaper and other things and doing other things. The more major part here is the interview. So let's discuss about this interview. So what are the interviewers looking for, especially in a political consulting? These are the 5 things. One is the passion or motivation. Are you genuinely motivated and enthusiastic about political consulting and inclusive minds? This is very important to survive in this space of political consulting. I believe this is less a job, more an art. So if you are really, if you are not somebody who is passionate about politics, then you may find it extremely difficult to work under stressed, 12 hours, 14 hours a day when the time arrives. So looking for people who are motivated and genuinely enthusiastic is very important. So you have to ensure that in the interviews you have these things in your mind while answering the question. Second is political acumen. You cannot survive in this field if you do not have a good political acumen. Especially a lot of questions in the interviews will revolve around political acumen. So maybe 50-60% question at least can be about political acumen. We will discuss the details later, but this is important. Prepare for it. Third is the problems solving. As we were discussing, this is the superpower of consultant, problem solving. Fourth is your communication skills, whether whatever feelings you have, are you able to convey your feelings properly? And adaptability and a sense of ownership. This they have also explicitly mentioned in their application. Adaptability is important because you are working in very diverse setups. Type of questions to prepare for. Broadly, 6 type of questions you will have to prepare for. One, profile-based questions. So these are simple. These are, let's say, resume-based questions. So prepare for your academic background, your professional journey, your work which you have done, skills, projects, and certifications, and position of responsibility. Now here, if there is something which is relevant can be maybe some internship which you did, maybe some volunteership, or let's say if you are part of our, as an example, applied public policy lab program, the kind of project and skills which you gain from it. So if you have these kind of things in your resume, a lot of questions can be expected from it. Now that is both a good thing and a bad thing for you. Good thing is you already know about it, you can prepare for it. Bad thing is if you do not excel in these questions, then a lot of they may start asking your overall candidature. So then the political acumen questions. Here they will ask, let's say, your awareness about the national politics, major alliances, top leaders, top campaigns, top issues, your understanding of your home state. A lot of questions are asked from your home state because let's say even if tomorrow you will work for Karnataka, but they know that you may not be aware about Karnataka. What you should be aware is your own constituency, your home state, and nation as a whole. So a lot of questions about home state can be about, let's say, electoral history. What are the major parties? What are the major alliances? I don't know what is, let's say, chronologically, what was the order of which party winning the election, etc. What is the broad demography? What are the regional issues, etc., etc. So you should be aware of it. Top leaders, then knowledge of constituency. So what was the electoral history? What is the demography? Or let's say, what advice would you give? What are the current issues which are prevailing in the constituency? Now, some candidates here think that when I am asking a question on your constituency, I don't know about it, so you can just say anything and you can bluff with me. That is not the case. Whenever I interview someone, I have the whole portal open in front of me. That portal has details about every constituency. So I know each and every data about your constituency before asking. So do not try to bluff. Do not try to think that they are the fools. They are not. Third is the behavioral questions. So behavioral questions is, say, alignment with your career aspirations, your strengths and weaknesses, your biggest achievement and setbacks, situational questions, and a lot of similar things. Then they will ask some case interviews. So case interviews can be about, let's say, these are political consulting focused case interviews. Maybe building electoral strategy to increase voter turnout or women participation, etc. Those who are applying for UPSC, this is most important part of it. This and guesstimates. So ensure that you prepare for both these things well. Most of the candidates who from the bounds were rejected in the past, they got stuck in the guesstimates. So prepare for it well. It's a game of practice. Then let's say campaign design. It can be about building electoral strategy, campaign design for specific issues like Ram Temple, and it can be about brand building of specific politicians, parties. Then there will be some guesstimates. Guesstimates can be standalone guesstimates, or it can be part of broader case interview. So here maybe you have to figure out how many beneficiaries of a specific scheme are there. Then sixth part, which is the understanding of the organization. You are applying to that organization, you should be enthusiastic about it. So you should know, you should have understanding of the political consulting domain and the work involved in general, and that specific organization. So inclusive minds, what are their past projects, what is their track record, what is their maybe nationwide presence, etc. How to answer these questions? When you talk about behavioral question, there is something called star format: situation, task, action, and result. So for a consultant, right communication, structured communication is the key, right? So ensure that everything you talk about is in very, very structural manner. So situation, you talk about what was the context of the story, when it took place, who was involved in it, where it occurred, then what exactly was the task to be delivered, then what actions, what steps you took to achieve that, and finally, what was the result. So, okay. Now case interviews, which is very important part. Here, obviously, I can't do justice for the case interviews just in the through one slide, but I'll give you a very good idea about how to go ahead. So this is to assess your political acumen, your analytical skills, your holistic thinking, problem solving, and effective communication skills. Let's say example can be you have to design a campaign to increase voter turnout. Here, first is the approach will be first of all, do not directly jump to answer this. First, do a proper scoping. Scoping can be, let's say, understanding the problem. When you say design a campaign to increase voter turnout, is it for a specific constituency or a state or nation? Right? Number one. Number two, is the voter turnout very low currently and we have to increase it? So is it exceptionally low or it is in general we want to increase it? So you have to do before answering the question, understand, scope the problem, understand the problem. Second is gauge the reasons for it. Now, when you talk about the increasing voter turnout for a constituency, the reasons for low voter turnout are very, very different for people from different age bracket. So you can segregate it by age. Say when you talk about the youth, middle age, and old. So older people may have convenience as an issue, but young people may have apathy as an issue. Or some people may have safety as an issue, or some people you may have migration as an issue. But issues for them are very different. Accordingly, when you will build a solution, you will account for all these factors. So for this, you have to first understand the reasons for this. So break it down and then accordingly solve it. So gauging the reasons and then provide pragmatic solutions, tackling each and every reason. Use diverse mediums, digital medium with the physical medium, maybe English or Hindi language with the local language. So provide that local term. Then similarly, you have guesstimates. Under the guesstimate, similar things apply. You just have to think out loud, gather the pertinent information, understand the problem well, make logical assumptions, and provide the solutions. Now, both guesstimates and case interviews are covered as part of Applied Public Policy Lab. We have included one more thing, which is we will have a couple of sessions, especially about political consulting, because a lot of candidates also want to get into political consulting who are applied public policy lab program. So we will have dedicated sessions, 1 to 2 sessions on that as well. So this is voluntary addition. Broadly for guesstimates, this is intellectual curiosity, problem-driven thinking, discerning mindset, quant basics, and communications is what we are looking. Okay, things to avoid in the interview. Understand that as part of political consulting, you are work as an independent consultant. So do not showcase a political alignment. Don't showcase any rigid political alignment, especially to the opposition. Right. Second, you are a professional. You are not a party ka karyakarta. Second is conflict of interest. Don't say, Chacha Vidayak hai hamare, even if he is, because then it can come as a matter of conflict of interest. Then you will not be able to provide independent opinions when your relative is involved somewhere. So they may avoid directly selecting. One-sided or biased opinion. Do not provide biased opinion. Provide opinions based on objectivity and rationality. When you work as part of this, political consulting firm, you understand what is the good part of it, what is the bad part of it, and you decide to do that. So provide both the sides of the story. Do not provide overly idealistic or vague answers. Provide specific answers. Do not ensure that your political awareness is quite good. So stay updated on current trends, party ideologies, and recent elections, and lack of structure in the answer. So there should be a proper structure. A frequently asked questions about this: is there a possibility of retention after this fellowship? Yes. Preferable language for all the rounds will be English. Can I leave the fellowship in between? Yes, you can, but there is a notice period of 1 year. So you of sorry 1 month. So you will have to serve that for it. Then can I prepare for exam while pursuing this? That depends. But as we were discussing that there are times when you work for 2 hours, there are times when you work for 12 hours. So that depends on the project assigned, the stage of the project, and overall how much motivated you are. This I believe is the most important. How competitive is the selection process? It is very competitive. There is no doubt in this. 20 candidate, maybe thousands of candidates will submit the application, I'm sure, especially in the current market. But a well drafted resume and SOP is the key, and a strong interview preparation. Pro tip is stay updated on the current political trends, party ideologies, and recent elections. Now we will come to the another major part, which is a sample resume. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Is can you see a resume open in it?
Yes, sir. Harshit Gupta.
Okay, great. So this resume we discussed in the past also, but at that time it was tailored for public policy. Now it is tailored for political consulting. Now this is how you have to write the name, provide the basic details, email ID, phone number, location, LinkedIn profile, hyperlink. Educational qualification, put it in a very crisp and concise manner. You can put it in the form of a table or without a table, but these are the basic details which you have to put. Ensure that you put your marks, especially if they are good. Then you write about your work experience. So here you talk about the position and the organization name. On the right hand side, you can mention about the broad timeline for it. Ensure that the timeline is right aligned and properly aligned. There is no formatting mistake. Now here, things which we were discussing. Let's say as part of senior mentor, many of you work in the coaching industries, and that experience can also be comfortably leveraged to get into these fields because you conduct a lot of secondary research, you read a lot of articles, a lot of journals, etc. You do track current affairs, so you can mention about them. You can mention the relevant keywords. They conducted secondary research on international relations through reputed journals, articles, and compiled findings in a report, right? Mentored UPSC aspirants on analytically answering multiple choice questions or cross-functionally collaborated with different peers. So you have to think what are the relevant skills for the role you are applying for. Accordingly, you tailor your past experience. Similarly, if you have worked maybe in business strategy or similar kind of or any other role, you can mention about it. Now here, few points which are important is quantification of your results. Whatever work you have done, quantify that. Introduce the right keywords and also make them bold so that when I go through a resume in just 8 to 10 seconds, whatever is relevant to me is outrightly coming out of the resume. Keyword, make them bold, quantification, and write very crisp and concise sentences. Do not write long paragraphs. Now, it might be the case that a lot of you may not have a work experience. If you have internship, you have volunteership, do mention about that. In case you do not have anything, as we were discussing, do not worry. Start building your profile, start upscaling. So let's say if this guy, Harshit Gupta, has also done our applied public policy lab program. So these are the skills he can mention. So just you can take some keywords from it. You can also mention them right now also. Later, if you do our program, you can certainly learn these skills. So in the under the technical skills, you can mention, say, you are proficient in R, Excel, PowerPoint, Power BI, and Atlas.ti. Say, as we were discussing earlier, if you from this you are showcasing that you have good quantitative analysis skills, you have good qualitative analysis tools knowledge, and also let's say data visualization and presentation. So one thing which they were looking for, that is directly included. Second is if you have understanding of publicly available data, then you can mention about it. Then core competencies, you can talk about quantitative data analysis, statistical analysis, composite indices, qualitative data analysis, which are like key informant interviews, KII, focus group discussions, policy simulation, literature reviews and synthesis, reporting and presentation. So all these things are directly relevant to public policy and political consulting. So in case you know are part of this program, you can certainly mention about all these skills. Then let's say if you have done a white paper, you have written a consulting paper, then as part of our program, we cover this. So how to write it is, let's say white paper on, let's say the topic, the timeline of it. Then talk about the relevant methodologies and tools. So conducted an in-depth literature review and synthesis and developed a theory of change framework. So you are sprinkling the right keywords, collated and clean data on key indicators, including this. At the same time, whenever you are writing something, be specific. You are not just writing collated and clean data on key indicators. Write specific things, including these on international, national, and state level data. So be specific. Performed extensive quantitative analysis by utilizing trend analysis and scatter plots to compare India's growth trajectory. Created a unique quality of growth index and then provided actionable policy recommendations. So do mention about policy recommendations, policy brief, or similar thing if you know have made it any point of time. Then under the certification, whatever certifications you have, you can mention about them. Again, talk about say broadly what you gained out of it. Okay. Then as we were discussing, it is about the all-round personality and not just the technical skills and other things. So if you have held some leadership positions in the past, maybe chairman of a club, etc., you can mention about it. How to do that is showcase that you have led teams. So led teams of these many people, or let's say you organize various events. So you can mention by organizing or in organizing 20 plus this. You can be more specific. You can provide with the overall footfall of 1,000 candidates. You can also mention about cross collaboration, which you did as part of this position. Let's say you mentored some teams, you can mention about them. So showcase your leadership ability. Where this, you are not saying that you are a leader, you are showcasing that you have held leadership position, so you are obviously a leader. Then the civil service exam preparation. It is neither an education nor a work experience, so you can have it here as part of awards, achievements, and other endeavors. Now, if you have appeared in mains stage at any point of time, do mention about it. Mention the selection rate here. So quantification is important so that the other person is able to understand that, okay, you were in top 1%, even though you were not selected. Then the relevant hard skills, let's say the subjects which you explored, and the relevant soft skills. Along with this, if there are some other academic or non-academic achievements, you can mention. That's how it should be. It should be a typically, say, a single pager, properly aligned, good, neat, and clean resume. That is how. That is where we end this overall discussion. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to ask.